What is going on, everyone? AP over here, Rumpier Sports, bringing to you once again. We have the Lineup Builder Show. It's going to be an awesome week. I'm here, as always, each and every week with my two guys. We got Uncle T. We got Snyder. We're at Jack's place this week. We got the Memorial. Looks like a big boy event. Absolutely love to see it. Snyder, let's bring you in first. How's it going this week, man?
Yeah, it's going good this week. I love this event. This is one of my favorite events, favorite courses at the tour place each year. I love how the course sets up and such, which we'll get into in a little bit. But, yeah, I got the yellow polo on this week, so we know it's Jack's event. So ready to get into this event here.
Yeah, I am too. Obviously coming off a nice weekend. Obviously got to go to Tiger Jam and was a incredible time. After I bring Uncle T in, maybe I'll give a little bit of an insight to that in the week there because DraftKings, they go all out. It's absolutely insane. Uncle T, what's going on, my man? How was your week last week?
Yeah, good to be back on with you guys. Last week was a so-so week for me, about a break-even week for me as far as the DFS streets, but congratulations to our boy Bobby Mack. I did have him in a couple lineups last week, just not the right combos, so he got it done up in Canada last week. And no, I thought I was having a pretty good weekend, AP, with my member guest at our club here. But man, I couldn't top where you were at. I was pretty jealous. You'll talk about it here in a minute, but looking forward to seeing how that went. But no, it's a great stretch of golf. Like Snyder said, this is one of those tournaments I love watching because it's going to play tough, and it's going to play tougher as the weekend typically goes too. Thursday, Friday, it's going to play hard. But depending on the weather, it's going to be probably hot. Jack always kind of tucks those pins on the weekend in a spot where, it's just tougher to make par a lot of these holes. And I like it. Next week, obviously, we got the U.S. Open at Pinehurst. I've got my family golf trip next week. So Uncle T's living good right now. Good 2-3 week stretch of golf, both playing and DFS-wise. So looking forward to breaking this one down with you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, I do want to talk a little bit about Tiger Jam, the event that I was fortunate enough to go to because one of our members was unable to go. Shout out to DJ. Awesome member, great guy. And, I can't thank him enough for letting me go in his place. And here's the thing. They don't they have all they have all of these events. They have their live finals. They have events like this and where they bring people out, but they don't do a lot of marketing around it. And I think they need to because they go all out. It is an awesome time. I mean, we got to golf 2 days. I only golfed 1 day, but 2 days at Shadow Creek. Andy, the CEO of SaberSim, was out there as well. I spent a lot of time with him. Awesome guy. The team over there is just absolutely great. So Shadow was awesome. We got to do a meet and greet with Tiger, which was fantastic. And Andy got that picture of me and Tiger walking right by each other. And it looked like people actually thought I was playing with him. Look, I didn't play with Tiger. I mean, that would be absolutely insane. And I'm sure I would have played absolutely terrible. But Shadow Creek, awesome course. It's wild that you're that place is in Vegas. It does not look like you're in a desert. And the concert was, I'm not a big concert guy, but it was awesome. Colin Morikawa, got to meet him. Minwoo Lee, got to meet him. So a lot of high profile, golfers, people, and everything out there. And when you look at DraftKings and their Twitter that day, not much. So I was trying to not make anyone jealous. I was just trying to highlight the different activities at the event because I wish when they have these live finals, I love seeing information about them. I want to know what's going on with the leaderboard. Love seeing pictures, and I don't think there's enough of that. So, and actually Andy agrees, and they're working on a little bit of something from a marketing standpoint with some of those live events. So possibly more to come on that. But again, if they run that contest next year, the Tiger Jam specific contest, I would highly recommend trying to get there. It's a great value if you get in for, a reasonable price, assuming what contest that you're in. So definitely something to look forward to next year. But I digress. Let's get into it. This is the Lineup Builder Show. with our partner SaberSim. Sign up, Run Pure Sports, RPS 15% off. That includes SaberSim, and we have a golf-only package that will include SaberSim for you. So I like to call this our base build. We have, from a projection standpoint, every player is lined up according to value. So we're going to bump up projections. We're going to bump down projections. We're going to run it, and we're going to go over our top 3 builds. But we're going to use the same format that we do each and every week, going tier by tier. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and we will get into it. But first, Snyder, we need a course breakdown this week.
Yeah, we're here at Jack's place here at Muirfield Village. It's a par 72. It's going to measure 7,569 yards. This is a big boy track here, and it was renovated back in 2020 after the event that year. 71 players will tee it up this week with the top 50 in ties, plus anyone within 10 shots will be seeing the weekend this week. The greens here are some of the best in the country, and they measure right around 5,000 square feet, so they're smaller. The normal greens, they're going to be rolling at around 14 on the step meter. Very fast, very firm greens here. The sub-air system will even keep these greens firm and fast, even if they do get some rain, which I think is possible. Maybe one or two of the nights. Might have been Wednesday night. There was a chance of rain there, but definitely these greens will still be primo. This tree line track features fairway widths that. Depending on how far you hit the ball, it depends on what the width is going to be on these fairways. It's going to be anywhere from 31 to 22 yards, just depending on the landing area and how far you take it up these fairways. And the rough is going to be playing very long, thick, and dense, as this blend of blue, rye, and fescue is going to measure right around 4 to 5 inches this week. It's going to be very tough if you find the rough, so put an emphasis on finding the fairways this week. I really like how Jack kind of laid out these fairway bunkers as well, as they mainly hug the inside of the dog legs here, making it tough to kind of cut off these dog legs. Cut off distance is tough here. If you find the bunkers on these fairway bunkers, they play very tough. 18 is one of my favorite finishing holes in golf, too, as it averages almost a half a stroke over par. I think it played 0.4 strokes over par last year. You got the bunkers lining the right side as it goes with the dog leg, and then there's a creek that lines the left side of the fairway as well. So it's a really challenging tee shot there. It can definitely swing the tournament either way. This course boasts some of if not the toughest greenside bunkers on tour as well. It's going to bring scrambling well into play here this week. 50% of the approach shots will be coming in from 175 and plus. And golfers will see 13 holes with water in play this week. And some of the key stats we'll be looking at this week: strokes gained approach, off the tee with an emphasis on fairways gained, scrambling, proximity 175 to 200 plus, and then bogey avoidance as well.
Yeah, very good. I think the things to add, this is a signature event, right?
Yep.
71 golfer.
Players.
Yeah, 71 golfer player pool. Everyone's going to play 4 rounds. So every single player, no matter price, unless they withdraw.
There's a cut, AP.
Oh, is there?
There's a cut, yeah.
Oh,
Wasn't paying attention to the early intro. Hate to see it.
I was trying to. My apologies. I thought all of the signature events.
It's top 50 plus. I think anybody within 10 strokes. It's similar to the Masters in a sense.
Yeah, and API and Genesis, I think, also had this. Like at the Genesis, they had this top 50 in ties, and like 2 or 3 of the most highest owned guys missed the cut, so it was a low 6-6 that week. So, I mean, there's a potential for that again this week.
Yeah, I mean, that brings kind of an interesting dynamic into play, and will make what we're going to go through tonight really interesting. And again, I like to view this as a base build. We like to get a gauge of what roster construction is going to look like, and I think we've done a great job so far with going through this, with building our optimal based off of really what you, Uncle T, and what Snyder kind of convinced me to bump up and down. I definitely lean more on you guys for this. So let's get into it. Let's go tier by tier. We got Saber up right now. Let's go 10K and up. Uncle T, we're starting with you. Victor Hovland up to Scotty Scheffler. You got Rory, you got Xander mixed in there. What are we doing with this range?
Yeah, only 4 golfers up top this week. First glance when I looked at the pricing, I wasn't, obviously, less golfers, no 5K guys this week. I was hoping they continued to price Scotty up over 13K, 13.2, 13.3 like they have been. A little disappointed he's at 12.5 just because I think more people will try to just jam him in. I would have probably done that at a more elevated price tag, but 12.5, a lot of times we try to, at least I do, to think of a scenario where you wouldn't want to play him. Playing on a tougher course, birdies are going to be a little tougher to come by. Par on a lot of these holes is going to be very good score. Similar, they want to get these guys ready for next week, obviously, but what I'm getting at is I just don't think I can find a way to fade Scotty here at all. I might. I've got 7, 8 lineups, I think, right now. I may get to 10. Probably play 10 lineups this week. I'm going to have a hard time not maybe locking in Scotty. 12.5, it's just too cheap. T3 here the last couple trips. And again, I don't think there's enough of a price, kind of elevation relative to the other guys here to make a case to really not even play him even at, he's probably maybe Snyder, maybe 30, he's probably around 30% now. He may get higher than that by Thursday.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm just going to play him, guys. I'm going to make it short and sweet. I'm going to play Scotty, like him quite a bit, 3.5 to 1 right now to win the golf tournament. Rory McIlroy and Xander are going to just be in a spot for me this week where probably going to be out on both of them. Rory has played here quite a bit. He's got 8 top 20s here, but he's never won it. And, he had a T7 last week or last year here, but, 11-1, again, there's just not as big a price gap between him and Scotty for me to validate, maybe playing him. Xander obviously rested since winning his first major at the PGA at Valhalla a couple weeks ago. He's had good success here, but he's never really had, last 5 years, he's got, top 25s, but no top 10. So I don't know, maybe still a little hangover from the PGA for Xander. And Victor is the interesting one. I think I'm going to be out on Victor for sure, but defending champ was playing awful, 4 weeks ago, played pretty good at Quail Hollow, T24, and then obviously surprised everybody by contending at the PGA and actually 3-putted, from 15 feet or whatever it was on the 72nd hole there to kind of fall out, in that race with him and Xander and Bryson. So Victor will be the lowest owned in this group by a very big margin. So if you kind of wanted to play that angle, you could maybe play him. But for me, I'm in on Scotty here up top.
Yeah, very good. Hard to argue against a lot of what you said there, Uncle T. Rory, God, he's playing so good right now. So I might disagree just a little bit. But again, it's you got to pick and choose your battles. I know we're all going to like Scotty. I definitely am. Profiles very well. Obviously in great form, coming off T2. Checks every single box. And then it really becomes, what is your team going to look like? So I do think you need to take a stand up top here especially between Rory and Scotty. You could also make the argument to use Rory and Scotty as your anchors. You could, if you're MME, and let's just say you're in 20 max formats or you're running 50 or 150, you could say, okay, I want every single one of my builds to have at least Scotty or Rory. Interesting concept just because it gives you so much winning upside there. I kind of think we're all going to agree on Xander being under on him, but Snyder, let's go over to you. 10K and up, Hovland up to Scotty. I think I know what you're doing, but tell us what you're doing with this range.
Yeah, Scotty's just too underpriced here, I think, even though with the field and such. I'll be right back on Scotty. If you remember right, Scotty probably should have won this event last year, but he lost 9.5 strokes putting last year. He gained over 20 strokes tee to green last year. I think he finished T3 or T4 last year. Just was one of the most abysmal putting rounds we've seen in quite some time. But yeah, right back in on Scotty this week. He's got 4 wins and 2 runner-ups in the last 7 events he's played. And the other event was at T9 at the PGA Championship with whatever happened and everything that happened that week. So that was just you got to write that one off, I think. He's a minus 210 favorite over Rory, so he's a monster favorite over Rory. So, yeah, Just not going to overthink it. I'll be playing. I think I'm only going to play like 2 guys from 9K and up mainly. I think Scotty's going to be one of them. I'm going to get extremely overweight on Scotty. I think Xander is the cash guy. Like if I play cash games, it'll probably be anchored by Xander. Once again, I've just been playing Xander in my cash teams quite a bit recently. And Xander's minus 135 favorite over Rory in the betting market. So I think Xander is a play over Rory personally. I think the ownership's going to kind of be capped though and kind of spread out a little bit between these 3 guys. We'll probably see Scotty probably around 30% or so, I think. I don't think his ownership's going to get too high this week because we're going to see Xander probably 20 to 25. I think Rory will still see around 20% with his recent form and such. So I think ownership's kind of going to be spread out. Uncle T was right. I mean, Victor Hovland's going to be the lowest owned guy, probably 10% or lower, but he's a pretty big underdog to my guy Morikawa. So I don't see myself getting to Vic. So it's Scotty 1, Xander 2 for me up at the top, but probably just Scotty outside the cash games.
Yeah, very good. I'm going to leave all 4 in the player pool. We're going to emphasize bumping up Scotty Scheffler, and actually Xander I gave the other bump to. I just want to give a little bump to Rory. It's probably not going to matter. I think, just from the bumps we've given, look, like all 3 of us on Scotty, we love, it makes a lot of sense. So it really comes down to, I think, this next range. And, thinking about it, I don't mind locking like Scotty at all this week and just taking a stand, because I do agree with you, Snyder. Ownership is going to spread out in this range. Everyone's going to want a little bit of peace with all of these guys. So you can make the argument to fade Scotty and be, the ultimate contrarian and get different that way. Or you could just lock him in and guarantee that you're going to end up overweight on him relative to the field. I mean, Uncle T, are we worried at all with how he was, his pronunciation? Louisville? Is that what he was saying? I mean, absolute ultimate troll. That was funny.
I thought it was kind of. I think it was probably a troll. I'm not really sure, but yeah, that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Let's get to this next section. Before we do, if you like our shirts, I mean, we got bright yellow, we got bright orange or salmon, and we got a bright blue colored shirt. Looking good today, all of us. Nice, bright, ready to go. If you like the shirt colors, hit the like button. We appreciate it. Let's go down to this next range. We're going right back to you, Uncle T. Colin Morikawa. I think at least one of us on the panel is going to have interest in him, all the way down to Hideki Matsuyama. What are we doing with this range?
Yeah, not the best range for me, to be honest. Again, I'm probably going to play, again, if not all Scotty, I may play probably 70 or 80% and just get way over on Scotty. So I may not be able to get to a whole lot of these guys. What I'm tinkering with is a Scotty. Well, let me just get into who I like. So yeah, at the top, Morikawa. If there was another 10K guy this week, it should probably be him. I mean, I could even make the argument you could flip-flop him and Victor Hovland as far as overall performance the last couple months. But 9,800 is still a really good price tag here on Morikawa. We all know, and I don't want to steal all Snyder's thunder, but obviously going into the Masters, he had a very subpar year going into the Masters. And, T5 at the Masters, or T3 at the Masters. And, he's been cruising ever since. Now, at the PGA, I was down there that last round, keeping an eye on those last couple groups. And, he definitely struggled. When all the guys were making birdies, he had trouble, making birdies. And I do worry about that a little bit. But he's played well here. Last year, I'm pretty sure he had maybe within a shot or two of the lead going into Sunday, and I'm pretty sure he had to withdraw with some back stuff maybe. I think that was his tournament. Might be wrong.
Yeah.
Was it this one?
Yeah, he was right there.
Yeah, 54 holes. He was maybe 2 or 3 shots off the lead. I like him here quite a bit. 14 to 1 to win the golf tournament. His ownership, again, with those guys above him, going to carry quite a bit more ownership. I think his will be probably around 16, 17%. And I'm okay with that if it stays right there. So I like Morikawa quite a bit. The other guy I like in this grouping is our guy Justin Thomas, AP. Again, similar to Morikawa, was having kind of a subpar year. And even up until, the tournament at the Heritage. T5 at the Heritage, T21 at Quail Hollow, and then followed it up at his home course there at Valhalla, a nice, respectable T8. and then he's been out resting similar to Xander since the PGA. So I like JT here. He's kind of had a mixed bag of results here, a couple missed cuts. T18 was the highest, in the last 5 years here, but I think he's coming in on a little bit of an uptick, and I like where his game is trending. So I like those two guys. The only guy like Obear, he missed the cut at the PGA, hasn't played a ton of golf the last 5 weeks. Honestly, he's missed, he didn't play a couple tournaments, then missed the cut at the PGA. Price tag's pretty good. 9,500 is a good tag on Obear, but I don't think I'm going to do it. Cantlay has good course history, elite course history. Obviously, he won this thing twice. I don't know. I just don't like the form for Cantlay. It is a decent price tag, 9,400. I think I'm going to fade. Fleetwood, I've been playing a lot of golf. I don't know. T21 last week, T3 at the Masters a couple months ago. I'll probably be out on him as well. The only guy I'm undecided on maybe adding in this group is Matsuyama, just because I'm so damn afraid if he gets off to a bad start, he might withdraw. But he does set up really well for this course. Won here all the way back in 2014, T16 last year, T6 in 2019. So he maps out to be the third guy for me if I was to add another guy. But for me, Morikawa easily number one in this grouping, and then Justin Thomas is my second guy in.
Yeah, very good. Look, I'm not going to disagree with Justin Thomas. He's been playing much better. And maybe it's because I haven't been playing him. Who knows? That could definitely be the case. Snyder, talk about this range. Talk about Obear. I know he was dealing with the injury, I think back issue. Is that right? I don't know if you have any update on that in his status. I know he just didn't look. He just looked off at the PGA Championship. So, if I knew he was 100% go at 9,500, I love this course for him. Absolutely love it. But if he's still dealing with any lingering type of issue, it's tougher to play.
Yeah, it's hard to tell with him with that knee injury that he had. With the way the betting markets are moving, it's not looking good for Ludwig there. My guy Morikawa opened up as I think 155 favorite over him, and he's now up to minus 180. There's been a 35-cent move towards Morikawa versus Ludwig in the betting markets there. I'll be off Ludwig this week. I think I'm mainly just going to play Morikawa in this range. Just get super overweight on Scotty and Morikawa. Have those two anchor my teams. The game's trending back upwards for Morikawa. Returns to a course that he's won at before and has his old coach.
Snyder, can I say one thing real quick? I forgot to completely tell you this, but so before our round on Friday, they had this little Q&A exercise with Tiger Woods and Colin Morikawa out there on the range, and they did these little, they had a little competition, actually multiple competitions, and it doesn't mean anything. Absolutely doesn't mean anything, but Morikawa absolutely spanked Tiger. So I think he beat him in every single competition that they did. So you got that going for you.
Now you love to see it. Yeah, his game's kind of back. He's got his old coach back, which he says has kind of comforted him and made sure everything was going to be all right. So he's got the old coach back for a few weeks now. Ranks number one in this field in driving accuracy, last 36 rounds. He's got the fourth best odds on Pinnacle, better than Hovland, twice as good as Ludwig. And he's going to be lower owned than Xander and Ludwig, I think, as well. So I'm going to be big on Morikawa this week. He's a big minus 155 favorite over Hovland in the betting markets, and then a minus 180 favorite over Ludwig in the betting markets, like I mentioned at the lead-in. So pretty heavy on my guy Morikawa. See if he can get another win at this event. A couple of top fives he's coming off of. And then I am kind of jealous that you were hanging out with him at the Tiger Jam and at the concert and everything. But, yeah, I'm going to be in on Colin. And then the other guy, if I play any, I think it will be some Hideki. I think he'll be close to 10% or something. Won't take much to get overweight on him. I like his upside for tournaments. So Uncle T kind of hit on him a little bit. Has a win at Augusta. Has some solid finishes here in the past as well. So Hideki would be the other guy. I think I would sprinkle in a little bit. But going to be well overweight on Morikawa and Scotty from the 9K and up ranges.
Tommy Fleetwood feels like the Sung JM type of play that we always kind of made fun of. Yeah. Like if you want T25 or whatever, play an overpriced Sung JM. Tom, and again, Tommy's our guy, but man, this guy just he's just a machine at one, making cuts, and two, finishing like T21, T26. Awesome finish to the Masters. I don't want to take away that. It is a big boy event. He likely gets 4 rounds. I don't know. When you look at the other options in this range, even a few options below him, I find it very, very difficult to click on Tommy Fleetwood. So he's going to be the first X. And then Cantlay's the other guy. I get the course history. Instead of, I guess, Xing him out, and same with Aubert, I'm just going to bump him down a little bit. I mean, I don't think it's going to really matter. I think, the likes of like Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa are going to pop instead, but we'll keep him in the pool for now. We'll bump him down. I agree with you guys in this range. Colin Morikawa for me, Justin Thomas. I can't really get on board with Hideki. He's rubbed me the wrong way too many times. It's been very, very frustrating, but we'll leave him in the pool and give him a slight bump up since you guys both had a few positive things to say about him. Let's go down to what I feel is a pretty interesting range, the 8Ks. Starting with Wyndham Clark, obviously very, very disappointing showing in the PGA Championship and the Wells Fargo the week before that. He really needs to show us something before the next major. So, Uncle T, it's going to be an interesting discussion point. What are you doing with this range, Wyndham Clark all the way down to Sungjae?
Yeah, let's talk about Wyndham right away. You mentioned those two tournaments. Also missed a cut at the Masters. So after he kind of ran his mouth a little bit, right, about the live golf and the 54 to 72 hole, comparison and all that kind of, that interview, he hasn't played very good golf since then. And, missed cut in both the majors. Obviously, he'll defend his U.S. Open next week at Pinehurst. So, obviously a little bit more pressure on him as far as media next week to defend that championship. But he will be extremely low owned. He is. I mean, he will definitely be, I think, sub 10%, which I think is going to be probably the lowest owned in this grouping in the 8K range. I'm out on Wyndham. I need to see some kind of form coming back before I'll pay $8,900. So I'll be out on him. And then how I'm wanting to build, while you guys were talking about the 9K range, I tried some Scotty Morikawa and then Scotty Justin Thomas builds, and it gets me down to about 7K even. For my remaining 4 guys. And I don't know that I really want to do that because we don't have the 5K range this week. So I'm going to probably see how I can get into this Scheffler and then some of these guys. Sahith, not really sure what to do with him. He's coming off a miscut last week. I was off of him last week when a few people, it was like their trendy pick, I thought, last week, late in the week. Missed the cut. He did have a T5 here a couple years ago, but more than likely out on Sahith here. Max Homa has good course history, T5 and T6 here the last couple of trips. I don't know. He's off a miscut as well in Houston where he shot, I think it was maybe close to an 80 the first round. Not sure on Max. Probably out on him as well. Spieth, my guy, I'm just going to continue to not play him until, guys, he's down to 8,600. I'm not playing him this week. I don't know what the price tag will be on him next week. I want to find a spot to maybe buy in back low on Spieth. As this price tag continues to decline. I just don't think it's going to be here. 8,600 for a guy who has really good course history here, but that was when he was playing a lot better golf, arguably. So I'm out on Spieth. Corey Connors, finally got to a guy I kind of like down here. 8,500, good ball striker. Price tag feels a little high relative to the the elite field here or elevated event field, but good ball striker off a T6 in Canada last week. I like Corey Connors. Don't mind. I'm kind of indifferent on Benny On. I know he's had some good history here. I think he lost to Bryson in a playoff maybe in 2018 or 2017. So he has some history of playing really well here. Hasn't contended since, but does have a couple top 25s. A couple guys I really like here, Sam Burns and Matt Fitzpatrick. So I mentioned that I may not be able to jam in a 9K guy with Scotty, but I can see me starting some lineups with Scotty and then going down to this mid 8K range. Sam Burns, I think he kind of found something. I watched his whole round on Sunday last week. He was hitting the ball to 8, 10, 12, 15 feet, literally every hole, and just couldn't get hot with the putter. Like if he had any kind of even a warm putter on Sunday, he could have easily made a run up at McIntyre and those guys that were up at the top last week. So I kind of like Sammy Burns here a little bit at 8,300. And then Matt Fitzpatrick, I always like him, as you guys know, I like him on tougher tracks. He's got a couple top 10s with a couple miscuts here the last 4 years, but I just feel like he's a pretty good course fit here. And, he's coming off a miscut at the PGA where he didn't play very well. But I like Matt Fitzpatrick here. And then the bottom end of this range, a couple guys that I've played a little bit, Noren and Henley, I think I'm going to be out. Noren, I played so many weeks in a row. He finally let me down. I think he missed the cut on the number last week. And then Sung J M, I haven't played Sung J all year. So I'm going to be out on the bottom three guys. So for me, Burns and Fitzpatrick, I like quite a bit. And then probably Connors and On would be the next two guys. So the middle of the 8K range for me.
Yeah, just looking at this range, the range above it, and the different options that we have, and even the players that we haven't discussed yet in the 7K range. I mean, you got to think that a balanced build approach is going to be fairly popular. You can build some really nice lineups if you just live in this range, which makes kind of what we did with Scotty pretty interesting. Like, I don't like with that projection, value-based projection that we all agreed would bump them up. You got to think that the optimizer is going to force them in. So I do think it's an interesting approach with the names down here, and I'll be curious to see what these builds look like. The Homa, so Max Homa had that really bad round, and I think we just got to throw out that last event because he's been playing really good golf outside of the Charles Schwab. And Snyder, didn't we know someone that might have been drinking with him at the event? One of those nights, I don't know. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to throw anything out there. But I'm just not even looking at that last missed cut because outside of that, he's been playing some really good golf. But Snyder, let's kick it over to you. 9K range or 8K range. What are you doing with these guys?
Yeah, for sure. This range is interesting to me. There's some decent tournament plays if you want to go there. Like Wyndham, I think, is a solid upside tournament play. Should be pretty well under owned there. Probably 6 to 8% or something like that potentially for him. Strong upside play if you want to go there. I'm off the Gala, off Homa. Spieth's got a good course history, like Uncle T said, but I just don't see myself really getting there. My favorite play in this range is going to be a guy that Vegas agrees with as well. I like Russell Henley this week. He's got the 10th best odds on Pinnacle and the 20th price tag for this week at 8K flat. I like him. He's got the good recent form heading in. Top 25 at the PGA Championship. Top 12 at the two elevated events before. He's top 15 in scrambling, which I'm weighing quite a bit here this week as well. And his gain with the putter in the 7 of the last 8 events was T16 here last year. And when you look at like golfers who does the best on these smaller greens, like they're going to see this week, and Henley ranks 7th in smaller greens approach wise this week. So I'll be in on Henley pretty big. I think he's like a cash guy. He's minus 125 over Connors in the matchup markets as well. So Vegas is siding on his side as well. So I'll be in on Henley quite a bit. I like Benny On for a strong upside guy as well in this range. He was +7 ball striking last week, so that's always good to see out of Benny On there. Just comes down to the putter like with him like usual. 8,400 is a strong price tag though. To kind of keep his ownership in check though. I think he'll probably be somewhere around 10% most likely. And then I do like some Sammy Burns as well. At the near the bottom of this range to 8,300. It's a strong price tag for his upside. Shown some life as of late a little bit, finishing T10 last week. He was 13th at the Wells Fargo as well. T16 here last year. It's all come down to the putter for him this year. If he can putt well, he's generally been inside the top 15, top 20. But if he doesn't putt well, we've seen what happens to him there. So it's just kind of a strong upside play, I think, with Sam Burns, who should probably once again, another one of these guys be around 10% in this ownership range. So it's pretty easy to get overweight on those guys. I'm seeing Russell Henley right around 10% as well. I think 10 to 15% I have for Henley right now, which I think he should get higher owned than that. It'll probably be one of the more popular cash game plays. Like if I was starting cash games this week, it would probably be Xander Henley would be the first 2 clicks I made.
Yeah, very good. I like the call on Henley. I love what you brought up just about the odds and how from a price-based standpoint, you get a lot of value there. Sammy Burns, like, look, man, this guy's too cheap, 8,300. I think we all agree on him. So I'm giving them that 8 value kind of core playish type of range. I really want him to pop in our builds that we make. I like what you had to say about Wyndham Clark. I just like Uncle T. I get what you're saying. I'm not like a bit huge Wyndham Clark fan, but man, he needs to show us something. This is an event where I think he could. You got to think that he is very, very likely to make all 4 rounds. It would take a pretty bad start from him not to. And you get 4 rounds from him. I mean, man, we know what he can do. We've seen what he can do from a scoring standpoint. Again, it's a tough course. Scoring's going to be very difficult. So I mean, man, I could be like back tracking just a little bit if conditions are really tough there for Wyndham Clark. But I do want to give him a nice little bump there. And then Corey Connors, Benny On, Sammy Burns, like we said, Matt Fitzpatrick, Uncle T. I like what you said about him. Tough course, great price tag. And then Russell Henley. Like, that's why I think this range is going to be so popular. You plug in Henley, you plug in Fitzpatrick and Burnsy. I mean, man, you're going to have a lot of salary left to work with. So I think it's a really strong range. It's one I want to really pop and highlight in the build and the lineup builder that we're doing. So I think we're all mainly on the same page here as far as the 8K range. A couple disagreements, but not too much. So I like how this range is looking. Uncle T, after everyone hits the like and subscribe, let's go on down to the 7K range. So I'm going to leave them all unchecked. And as you guys talk about them and convince me on each player that you're on, I'm going to bring them into the pool, and I'm going to bump them up, bump them down, etc. So Uncle T, over to you, 7K range.
Yeah, I'll try not to mention. I'll just mention a handful of these guys and let Snyder get in with some good takes as well, because it's definitely a good range. I mean, we're not used to seeing Tony Finau under 8K, and I went back and looked, and it's his cheapest price tag all year for Finau, $7,900. Feels like it would be a course that you would like to play him. I don't know. The ownership, I think, is going to be enough to keep me off. I do believe he's going to be the highest owned guy by a decent margin from what I'm seeing in this whole 7K range. So before I saw the ownership, I was kind of in on Finau this week for the reasons I just mentioned. Cheap tag, seems like he's a pretty good course fit. He's kind of been up and down recently, but again, if he's going to be upwards of 20% in this 7,900 range here, I'm going to probably be out on Finau. That may change, but right now I think out. Shane Lowry, I haven't been playing Shane. I know he found a little bit of form, with the alternate with the team event, and then he played well the week after at the PGA. Going to be out on him. Cam Young, you guys know I'm not a Cam Young guy. He's been popular 2 of the last 3 times he's been on the slate, and he just continues to not do anything. So until further notice and he starts playing well, I'm going to continue to fade Cam Young, and it's not a problem at all for me. Now you get to a couple guys here that I do like, Tom Kim and Siwoo Kim. I think Tom Kim's similar to Morikawa and even Victor Hovland to a certain extent. Started the year off very poorly, not playing very good golf at all. But, Kim's played 5 weeks in a row now, and he keeps getting better. T4 last week, I think he played on the weekend both rounds with Rory, if I'm not mistaken. Hung in there really well, made, I think, 8 birdies on Sunday. So like Tom Kim at this, again, cheaper price tag than we're used to seeing. 7,800 is a really good price tag. And then a guy that's got really good course history, Siwoo Kim. I think he's got an outside shot at maybe winning this from this range. If you don't go up near the top and you're looking at guys maybe at the end of our show, I think Siwoo Kim could be a guy I look at as my guy down the board, but shared the 54-hole lead here last year and ended up T4, but like him quite a bit. And then I'll go down to a couple other guys. Will Zalatoris feels just too cheap. I don't really have a ton of stuff to say about Willie Z. We know I look at him as a grinder. On the tougher courses, similar to Fitzpatrick, maybe. I just think it's a disrespectful price tag here on Zalatoris. 7,500 feels really cheap. Billy Horschel, another guy, 7,400.
Uncle T, who's gonna get more ownership, Bill Z or Tony Finau?
Oh, I think Finau. At least what I'm
price
seeing.
Tag on Bill Z is like absolutely egregious. I agree with you on that. I want to give him a nice bump.
I got 19 on Finau right now and 11 on Zalatoris. I'll let Snyder if he sees something different. But yeah, if those ownerships were flip flop, I'd probably feel totally different. I'd probably be in on Finau at that cheaper tag than we're used to seeing, and maybe out on Zalatoris. But Billy Horschel's another good play, I think, in this 7,400 range. Been playing really good value in this range. And then two guys at the bottom, JT Poston, 7,100, same thing. Just feels a little bit too cheap. T12 last time out in Houston, just a cheap price tag. Hasn't had really good results here as far as high finishes, but he's played here enough. 7,100 is cheap. And then again, I know in the chat we had who is it? Roan Bird keeps talking about the weather and the wind. It is supposed to be maybe 15 to 20. I don't know if that's enough to really get these guys, really playing poor golf, because these guys are pretty good. But Ricky Fowler is a guy that I'll look at down here at 7K flat. He's a good wind player. So if it does come up to that and the wind is really bad, I like him in this spot. Been playing a lot better golf. I don't think his results actually, indicate that he's playing a lot better. T9 here last year. So 8 top 25s here with, I think, at least one runner-up finish in his career. So JT Poston and Fowler at the bottom of this 7K range for me.
I actually like the call on Flower this week, Uncle T. I don't think Snyder's going to be on him, but I brought him into the pool. I gave him a nice bump because I'm on board. I like the call on Ricky Fowler. He's a good cut maker. I think he can grind out a tough course. He can take his birdies when he gets them. So I'm on board with Ricky Fowler there. Snyder, let's get over to you. I already know, I should just bump Bill Z up even more. If I'm wrong, I'll bump him down, but I can't imagine you not on Willie Z this week. So talk us through the 7K range.
Yeah, I think this range is pretty loaded this week. We got 22 guys in the 7K range this week. So there's quite a few good options in this range. I do think Bill Z is way too cheap here. 7,500 is an elite price tag for the upside that he brings at these big time events. He excels in these longer, tougher tracks. Has been struggling as of late with the short game mainly. The short game's been bad, but he's gained approached 10 of the last 11 events, though. He was T5 in his lone appearance here back in 2022, where he gained over 9 strokes ball striking. So I think Bill Z is a great guy to bounce back this week. I think the ownership will kind of rise as the week goes, though, and he could definitely rival Finau for the highest owned in this range. I think another guy I really like this week is Siwoo Kim here. He's one of my favorite options in this range, aside from Bill Z. He hasn't played the best in the last 2 events, but he was solid at the 2 elevated events he played. T16 at Quail, T20 at the RBC, had a decent showing at Augusta as well. The putter has been an absolute huge concern, though. The putter has been dreadful for him. He's lost the last 5 events. He's lost at least 3 strokes in the last 3 events as well. But historically, he's putted well here at Muirfield, and maybe he could kind of find something again. As his recent form here at the course history is great here. 4th, 13th, 9th, and 18th in his last 4 trips here. He's a minus 120 favored over Tom Kim in the matchup markets, and has a pretty good outright numbers as well. So I'm definitely in on Siwoo here. I'll take the gamble on him in the short game. Hopefully he can find something with the putter like he usually has here at this event. Tom Kim looks fine too. The game's kind of trending upwards. He's fine. I like some Bezadenhout for a lower owned guy. I think he'll be under 10% and has made his last 3 cuts here. I think he's got some decent upside for very low ownership. Harris English will be in the pool for me. He's minus 140 against Jaeger in the matchup markets. Finau. I'm usually not a Finau guy, but I could make some exceptions to get him in the pool this week, depending on ownership and all that. He's under 8K, off back-to-back top 20s. If he can top 20 at that price tag, I think that would pay off decent for him there. It just depends on everything and such, ownership and how I build teams and such, but he might be in the pool for me. Denny McPutts I'll probably keep playing with him. I've been playing him decently recently. He just keeps making a lot of putts. Solid value play. Great course history here as well. The last 2 years finishing top 5 both times. And he's been playing some strong golf outside of the PGA Championship. Love the short game with him around the green and putting. And then Glover is another guy. I think I'm going to play Glover over Fowler at 7K flat. I think he's a solid cheapie there. He's made lots of cuts, has good form. He's just a guy that has made cuts here, hasn't really spiked here, but he's been playing pretty good recently. You can make the case for Fowler, though, definitely, though, as well. He's made his last 3 cuts as well.
Lunch bet, $50. I'll take Fowler over Glover, Snyder. Our first bet of the – you in?
Sure. I just like the fact that Snyder's going to keep playing with Denny McPutts. I heard that way too wrong, Snyder. I'm going to add a couple guys. I want to add Billy Horschel, past winner here. I think he's playing great golf right now. I'm going to give him some love. And then Jason Day, shout out to crew in the chat. I kind of like Jay Day. The last time we had someone in the chat mention Jason Day, he ended up smashing. So we got to respect that. I'm trying to think of what event it was at. I think it was at the Wells Fargo. So again, Jason Day playing some better golf. Like Snyder said, a really strong range. When you look at the 8Ks and the 7Ks and how strong this range is, I just don't see how a balanced roster construction isn't going to be like the popular path. So I'm really curious to see what these Scotty builds plus this kind of mid-tier range looks like when we run everything. I'm trying to think I bumped up Will Z a lot. Absolutely love him. Siwoo Kim, loved what both of you guys said on him. Finau, just kind of leaving alone. He's going to fall under from a value standpoint versus what we did with everyone else in this range. We like Billy Ho, Bezadenhout, Harris English, great on tough tracks. Poston, Glover, Flower, strong range. We have a lot of players in the pool. But again, we're going to dial it down, and we're going to focus on our top 3 builds from this player pool that we are looking at. Let's keep it going, Uncle T. Right back to you, 6K range. We're going to do the same thing that we did with the 7K range.
Yeah, the 6K range isn't as enticing this week as far as a lot of plays, but I know just based off of playing a lot of Scotty here, I know I'm going to probably need to get into this 6K range for at least one play. I don't know that I want to grab 2 of these guys. We'll see how it plays out. I may end up just needing one. Justin Rose, 6,900, playing some really good golf. T6 at the PGA, T32 the last time out. He's a previous winner here. It's been a long time ago, but he's played here so many times. Very familiar with the course. 6,900 feels like a kind of a cheap tag. I don't know if I played Rosie too much all year, but again, I'm going to need to get down into this range. I'm going to skip a couple here and then go back because Austin Eckroat is the guy in the 6K range for me that I feel is just too cheap. 100. I think he's around 100 to 1 down here at 6,700, 110 to 1. Just feels too cheap. T18 at the PGA down at Valhalla. I don't know. I just like this kid's game. I think he's going to be. I'm not saying he's going to be the next star, but I do think he's going to be one of these guys that is going to keep getting better and better. And we'll probably be seeing him in the low 7, maybe mid 7K range in some fields the rest of the year. So I do like Austin Eckroat. Might be my favorite player in this range. But again, a few other guys. Victor Perez played really good last week in Canada, T3. He's fine. And then Dietrich, Moore, and Pendrith, all in the same range, all feel like they're nice, easy plug-and plays. And the reason I say that is they're all in pretty decent form for one reason or another. Pendrith coming off the win at the CJ Cup about a month and a half ago or so. T21 last week up in Canada. Taylor Moore has played good, 13 of 14 cuts made. So I think, again, I think in this range, I'm going to need to probably lean on at least one of these guys, hopefully up in this top 6K range. I really don't want to venture down in the bottom 6K range if I don't have to, because I really don't like the range as much. One guy down at the bottom I will mention is Davis Thompson at 6,400. I know he kind of, he hurt people's feelings last week. I had I think 1 or 2 lineups with Davis Thompson, so he kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. So I like him. And then even Davis Riley, he's coming off. I don't think he's played since he won in Houston. No, he hasn't played since he won that tournament at the Charles Schwab. So, he's cheap. Davis Thompson's cheap. But for me, I'm going to try to get one guy in this range. I don't know that I want to grab 2, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I would agree with that. This is another range where you could definitely make a rule, something that we did last week. I don't think I'm going to do it this week. I just want to see what the optimizer spits out. And then a step 2 would be introducing some type of rule. Snyder, let's go over to you. 6K range. What are you doing down here?
Yeah, I think there's a few options that you can go to. I do like one guy down here quite a bit. My favorite play in this range, 6,500 for Lee Hodges, has been a guy I've been playing a lot of as a value as of late. He's off T12 at the Colonial, T12 at the PGA Championship, and he was T24 at Quail Hollow as well. I think he's a strong value this week. The approach play has been solid for him. He's rolling the rock as well too. Good there, so I like him. Andrew Putnam's a guy I think is a fairly safe option down here, so I like him quite a bit. He's had a couple solid finishes here at this track, including a T5 last year, so I'll be in on some Putnam. I think Eckgoat's a solid option. He was 30th here last year. He's kind of popping in the models for me a little bit, so I'm going to have some Eckgoat in my builds this week. I think Davis Riley's fine, like Uncle T mentioned. Davis Thompson's another guy that's kind of popping for me a little bit. And that's kind of it. I don't know if I'll get to Akshay this week. He kind of hurt my feelings last week. I had a decent amount of Akshay, and he just did nothing over the weekend, finished T60th, so that was hurtful. I think I'll probably be off of Akshay, probably off of Kirk. I do like – I like a Hodges quite a bit, though. I think he's a real strong value this week.
What about your boy Jake Knapp? So I do got a Jake Knapp story on the second day. I did not play, but I was talking to Andy, CEO SaberSim, on hole 17. So it's the short par 3 downhill. The green sets up like like the par 3 at Augusta that we all know. Hit it to like 3 feet, like almost dunked it. 6,200 Jake Knapp, your boy Snyder. Absolutely none. Are you off of him? Are we off the Knapp train?
I mean, you can sprinkle some in there if you want.
I think I'm going to add him in just to see what that 6,200 price tag does, and I'm just going to get him over that 7.1.
I mean, they'll probably be like 1% owned, so it'll be.
Don't let him talk you into him, Snyder. If you don't like him, don't let AP talk you into your boy. If you don't like him.
No, he doesn't have to like him. I can like him though. I can like a little bit of Jake Knapp.
I'll probably sprinkle in 7 or 8 of these guys in the 6K range though for 150 and such.
Yeah, overall though, I agree with you guys. Like, I don't want to get crazy with this range. When I look at this, big picture, I think 8K range very strong, 7K range, a lot of very strong options. I even think like the 9K and up, obviously very very good. I do think, though, up top, it's going to be interesting. What stand are you making? Is it Scotty? Is it Rory? Or, Xander. Even coming off, obviously, his big win, the fact that he would be the guy that you go to in cash, I do think is pretty interesting. So I'm going to give him an additional bump. I don't think it's going to matter too much with Scotty's big projection there, but I do want to see what it looks like. And then Hovland, obviously, the defending champ. So, our big stands, Bill Z, definitely one of them. Actually, I can just sort by value. So Bill Z, Sammy Burns, Scotty Scheffler, then Matt Fitzpatrick, Russell Henley. The theme here is guys that are pretty good on tough tracks. And that's, I think, unanimously what we all agreed on are the golfers that we want to target this week. So I really like, kind of from a baseline standpoint, how we have this set up. Let's run this like we do each and every week. I'm not going to worry about that. We're going to go with our normal settings. I don't typically like leaving a ton of salary. We're going to bring sim diversity down to 5. We don't need a ton of builds for this exercise. So pool size 2,500. I'm going to run this. While I'm running this, let's get on to our winners. So who we think is going to win, where odds don't typically matter, and then a longer shot. Snyder, let's start with you.
Yeah, I was hoping to get better odds on my guy Morikawa this week, but 14-1 seems a little thin still with Scotty in the field. But I'll go with Morikawa as my main outright winner because you can't take Scotty at plus 360. I think I'm still a firm believer on, like I've done a few times with Scotty this year. Wait till Saturday. Wait till Scotty's at the weekend. He's got one shot lead or within 1 to 2 of the lead. He's usually like plus 125 or something. That's when I've been betting Scotty. But I do like Morikawa up top. I think it'll be a big name that wins this event. But if I was going to go down a little bit, I might even go like all the way down and find. You always worry about Bill Z closing out, but 75-1 is a strong number on him. I think Bill Z is fine at 75. If you want a longer shot guy, you can always hedge out of that pretty easily as well. So I'll go Morikawa at 14-1, and then Bill Z at 75-1, both on FanDuel.
Yeah, two good ball strikers, two guys that play tough and on tough tracks, so can't go wrong with that. Uncle T, who do you got winning this week?
Yeah, I like those calls. Morikawa, I've already got a bet on Morikawa. I think I got him 16-1 Monday evening. I think I got it. Yeah, 16-1 I got Morikawa at. Yeah, it's a little thin. Steiner, I agree with Scotty in the field, but I like Morikawa. But my pick for the show, I'm going to go with Matt Fitzpatrick. I just think, not a guy that a lot of people kind of like to play in general. He's not, we kind of make fun of the braces and such, for years. And then he's just not a guy that's real likable, I don't think. And I think he, for that reason in general, doesn't get as much love. But I think this course sets up well for him. I'm seeing 50 or 55-1 on Matty Fitz. I do like Sammy Burns as well, but I'll go with Fitzpatrick. And then down the board a little bit, I'm going to stick with my guy, Siwoo Kim, 50-1. So a couple guys towards the middle of the pack. I do believe, like Snyder said, probably more than likely one of these big hitters, one of the big name guys is going to get it done on a tougher track. But we'll go with Fitzpatrick and Siwoo Kim.
Yeah, we almost made it 3 for 3 on Colin Morikawa, but outside of Scotty, I do like Morikawa right now. I love how he's playing. I think this track sets up really well for him. Great ball striker. The putter is starting to come alive as well. There is a premium on making pars here, limiting bogeys, all things that I think Colin Morikawa can do. So I'm with you, Snyder. I like your boy, Colin Morikawa. My second guy, I got to go, trying to think if I want to eat some chalk or not. That's
go with your boy Horschel. We all like Horschel. That's a good play.
Okay. I'll go Bill. I was to be honest, I was between like 3 or 4 guys down here. And that's just kind of an indication of how strong this range was. Took a little bit of pure pressure from my guy, Uncle T, but Billy Ho is my guy, 7,400.
Why I said that. I almost took him, yeah.
What's his odds? I think he's like a really good
65 maybe?
65-1.
He's 70 on FanDuel.
70, okay.
When he gets hot, he gets hot. So I absolutely love that. Love that from a betting standpoint as well. Thank you, Uncle T, for helping me get there. I don't think I can take full credit if Billy Ho wins. We'll definitely share that one. Let's review these lineups, then let's get out of here. Let's look at our top 3. I was sort by projected score. Again, this is kind of a baseline build. We're going to go 3 uniques just because if we were running kind of a 3-max strategy, this is something that I would consider just to add some diversification to my 3 lineup portfolio. And let's look at this. So the top build that we came up with, interesting. No Scotty Scheffler. Definitely very, very interesting. We hinted at that, okay, guys? Like we hinted at that this range, this balanced build is going to look very, very, very strong this week. So I'm not too surprised. And when you look at it, Siwoo Kim, Colin Morikawa, Sam Burns, Willie Z, Matt Fitzpatrick, Betty On. That's a really strong build anchored with Colin Morikawa, the guy kind of that gives us that win upside. I really like how that build looks. And then, Snyder, you're talking about it, and I'm curious it's interesting that this build landed second. We got Xander Schauffele as kind of our anchor there with Russell Henley, Matt Fitzpatrick, Bill Z, Sam Burns, Poston. Again, another really strong non-Scotty build. So I want Snyder, what do you have Scotty Scheffler's ownership projection at?
I think he'll probably be right around 30% still. Like I think Xander will probably be 20 to 25, probably closer to 25, honestly. And then Scotty will probably be right around 30, maybe low 30s in some contests, but right around 30.
Yeah, this is going to be a week where just up until tomorrow night, you really want to track the ownership projections to see where these players are at. There's just so many interesting paths. Like, I do think if Scotty is going to be like 40%, I would honestly probably fade him just because of the strength of our lineups. What I'm looking at least right now, by fading him. So I think you could definitely make the argument. And then that third build, Spieth, I snuck Spieth in there, and I didn't give him that big of a bump. Uncle T, you're on your boy, right?
No,
kind of like. Oh, I must have just been like, it's ingrained in my head.
I've been off of for about 5 weeks now.
It's interesting that he landed in this build. I didn't give him that big of a bump relative to his range. So I do find that very interesting. He grades out as the 9th ranked build when you're sorting by highest projected. We have Henley, Bill Z, Sam Burns, Colin Morikawa, and others in there. So those are our top 3. I want to do one last thing. I want to let's just bump Scotty up to a number that just has to force him into our lineups. And I want to see what this top lineup looks like with Scotty Scheffler. So we have Eckroat, we have one 6K guy, we have Ricky Fowler. Again, that could be Lucas Glover or Ricky Fowler, whoever you like more. I think it was me and Uncle T on Flower, and Snyder, GOAT on Ricky Fowler. Scheffler, Sam Burns, those two are buddies. We have Bill Z in there. I do think that I would want Bill Z in my Scotty lineups. And then you have Henley. Again, like a really good build anchored by Scotty, but you really want Eckroat to do something. If he busts, I don't feel as confident about this build. And again, this is kind of a baseline. We're looking at it, another example with Davis Thompson as the punt versus what we previously showed in the non-Scotty build. So, I think it's a really interesting discussion this week, to Scotty or not to Scotty. And a lot of it is due to pricing with the underpriced golfers that we have. Another path, again, I didn't give Billy Ho the love that I probably should have, but you could go a Sammy Burns, Bill Z, Billy Ho, and I still think that you might be able to get out of that 6K range. So a lot of interesting decisions to be made. Uncle T, any final thoughts on, kind of the builds that we discussed?
No, I like how when we did this, about a month ago and started this, it really, I love talking through it with you guys. I know the chat, and we appreciate the chat. We see the same guys in here every week with us, so we appreciate you guys hanging out with us every Tuesday. But no, I like going through it a little bit. It kind of, coming into the show, I always have, and as you guys do, kind of how we think we're, the guys that we kind of like, and then talking through it and then looking at how these sims look. It kind of bumps a couple guys up that maybe I wasn't as high on, and I'm going to give more consideration to. And I just like the format, and I think it's going to be a good week for us heading into the U.S. Open next week.
Yeah, very good. Snyder, any final thoughts?
Yeah, looking forward to this week. Actually looking forward to the next 3 weeks. I think we've got 2 elevated events in the U.S. Open. So we got back-to-back big boy courses, which I love the best. I love to see these guys kind of struggle at times, more so than the Birdie Fest. And then, like always, we'll have the showdown content up on the site there, rounds 1 through 4. We'll have 3 separate tiers, slate strategy, player notes for each golfers. We'll have that up, and then always in Discord as always.
Yeah, very good. Appreciate all of you. If you enjoyed this content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. We appreciate it a lot. If you want to check us out, RPS 15% off. Come try out the SaberSim package with us. If you have any questions or if you want us to highlight anything else, let me know. Shoot me a DM. You can hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on the Discord. We would love to add other things into this show as well, just to make it more interesting and to help you all out with your process. So for that, I'm AP, that's Snyder, and that's Uncle T. Good luck and run pure.